From WBAL TV 11, this is breaking news.
Good evening. We continue to follow this major breaking news today as a jury has found Derek Chauvin guilty on all counts for the murder of George Floyd.
The judge read the verdicts about 90 minutes ago now after the jury deliberated for about 11 hours. Chauvin could spend decades behind bars. The most serious charge of second-degree murder carries a maximum prison sentence of 40 years. He could receive up to 25 years for the third-degree murder charge and up to 10 years for the second-degree manslaughter charge. After the verdicts were read, the judge revoked Chauvin's bail. He had been out on bail, and he was then led from the courthouse in handcuffs. He will remain in custody until his sentencing 8 weeks from now.
Reaction to the verdict pouring in tonight. Governor Larry Hogan tweeted out this statement, which reads, quote, "The senseless murder of George Floyd served as yet another reminder that we still have a long way to go to live up to our nation's highest ideals." He went on to say justice has now been served, and we hope that this verdict will bring some measure of peace to the Floyd family and the community. We're also hearing from Mayor Brandon Scott. He says, in part, "My heart goes out to the loved ones of George Floyd, and I hope they find some healing in today's verdict. We must honor George's legacy," he said, "and join together to build an inclusive system that truly works for everyone." This verdict has Baltimore keeping an eye out, especially after going through trials connected to the Freddie Gray case.
11 News reporter Lisa Robinson is in Northeast Baltimore right now, where she spoke with some black leaders about what this verdict and the trial in general means to them. Lisa.
You know, the video was a star witness in this case, and it seems like the jury listened to that star witness. I watched people learn of the news of the guilty verdicts on their cell phones. For the most part, people are saying good. Still, some are saying, I don't know what difference it's going to make.
I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on the way our system currently functions, only because we saw what happened with Dante Wright a couple of miles away. These police officers are still reckless, are still out of control.
I'm very glad to hear it. I think we've seen a lot of police violence in this country for decades, and increasingly in the last year, it seems. And it's nice to see justice served.
It's hard to say, you know. I don't know if it's going to really change anything, but you never know.
As an African-American man and dealing with policing in the African-American community and just seeing justice, justice being served today, I think just brought less, I'm more calm now.
And activist Dee Watkins says, while the guilty verdict may mean justice for some, we have to remember that the family will still never get George Floyd back. Reporting live, Lisa Robinson, WBAL TV 11 News.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much. And more breaking news tonight here in Baltimore. A building at the Domino sugar plant now just a pile of rubble after a massive fire this afternoon.
And crews were met with heavy flames and smoke when they arrived on the scene on Key Highway. It was around 3:30 this afternoon. 11 News reporter Kim Dacey joins us from the scene in South Baltimore. Kim, what can you tell us?
Well, Deborah, the smoke from this fire could be seen for miles. I saw it myself coming in on I-95 this afternoon. Fire crews remain on the scene here, and they say they will do so until this fire is completely under control and all hot spots are out. They say the fire started around 3 o'clock in or around a silo that one worker referred to as the sugar shack and spread to a nearby conveyor belt. The fire went to 3 alarms and caused a partial collapse of the silo, so firefighters had to evacuate and fight it from the outside. Luckily, all of the workers were able to get out safely and there were no injuries. Everyone is accounted for. Key Highway East remains shut down, and we spoke to one worker at the factory who was supposed to be at work at 3, and she obviously couldn't get there.
Things happen. Just as long as nobody got hurt, that's the number one concern. That's all. That's what I'm concerned about. As long as no one got hurt, and it could have been worse.
Fire officials say the cause of the fire is still under investigation. Reporting live in South Baltimore, Kim Dacey, WBAL TV 11 News.
Kim, thank you. And more breaking news from the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. All westbound lanes of the Bay Bridge are now back open after being closed for hours because of a multi-car crash there. MDTA police say the crash happened while the bridge was operating under a two-way traffic mode. Several people were hurt. While the lanes are back open, a wind warning remains in effect for the bridge. For all of the latest on these top stories, including reaction from more of Maryland's leaders to the Derek Chauvin guilty verdicts, guilty on all counts, and more video of this huge fire, be sure to download our TV 11 mobile app and turn on push alerts. Tonight, a former high-ranking member of the Maryland Natural Resources Police faces DUI charges. Lieutenant Colonel Ernest Leatherberry submitted his resignation today. State police say on Saturday night, a caller reported a Chevy Tahoe stopped at a red light on Route 50 near Grary's Corner Road in Worcester County, then backed into their car and drove off. Troopers later found Lieutenant Colonel Leatherberry stopped in a parking lot. They say he smelled of alcohol, and he was arrested on the spot. Later charged with driving under the influence, negligent driving, and several other charges.
In our other headlines tonight, starting Thursday, the Baltimore County Teachers Union is engaging in a work action. Members will no longer perform voluntary or unpaid job duties until the school system resolves 5 issues, and that includes their internet problems. 11 News I-Team reporter David Collins joins us live from Towson with more details. David.
Well, the teachers' job action is called Work to Rule Order. They will honor their contract, but as you mentioned, they will not do any extra unpaid work duties. Now, they say this is the best way to get the administration's attention. The Baltimore County Teachers Union has no plans to stop working.
Here to tell our truth.
They're just not going to perform any voluntary or unpaid job duties. They're fed up with frequent internet crashes interfering with their ability to provide a good virtual education for students.
I think it will help by bringing some public attention to the ways in which BCPS is not fulfilling their end of the bargain in terms of their basic responsibilities to giving us equitable education and the tools that we need to support our students.
Teachers complain about hours of phone calls to students and their families making sure they're okay. They argue they've become IT techs to help troubleshoot students' computer problems. They are constantly rewriting lesson plans.
Our hope is that educators will work with their administrative staff and say, what are my priorities? I cannot do them all. Teachers are working harder than they've ever worked, more hours than they've ever worked, and something's got to give. So what are the priorities? Let's focus on them.
The Teachers Union has a list of 5 things it wants school administrators to address. They want internet issues resolved. Teachers want to be reimbursed for 100 minutes of planning time lost during 2 days of no internet access. They want more information regarding a January data breach. They say when school opens 4 days a week, they're seeking an option of one teacher dedicated to virtual learning and another for in-person instruction. They also want clarity regarding 122 teaching positions lost during the pandemic. Teachers Union reps say that school administrators are aware of the list, discussions are underway, no commitments have been made, and no action taken yet. Reporting live from Towson, David Collins, WBAL TV 11 News.
David, thank you. The widow of an ATM service technician who was shot and killed in West Baltimore earlier this year is calling for the public's help to find her husband's killer. 58-year-old Kent Gertzley was shot while he was working on ATMs on Brighton Street on the morning of January 30th. During a press conference this morning, the widow pleaded with the public for help as she remembered the life of a loving husband and father of 2. Baltimore police say there is now a $10,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest and charges filed in the case. Meanwhile, Baltimore police are also investigating how a man died in Northeast Baltimore. Investigators say there was a fire at a home on Gilroy Drive. That was about 11 o'clock this morning. Police say a family member of the victim found his body after that fire. The cause of the fire and the man's death are under investigation. And that's going to be a wrap for us, Deb, at 6 o'clock.
And we continue to monitor the developments out of Minneapolis, where Derek Chauvin, the former police officer, was found guilty on all counts and led away in handcuffs, remanded back into custody. He will be sentenced in 2 months, found guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, guilty all counts for the murder of George Floyd, who was killed almost 1 year ago in Minneapolis in a scene that was before all the world to see, videotaped by bystanders as Derek Chauvin knelt on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Nightly News will have continuing coverage of the verdict. We'll see you tonight at 11.